All right, ladies, we're going to go through our progress quiz that covered 4A to 4G. Now you'll notice I've got two documents open. That's only because I can't draw in I can't draw in a PDF. It's really, really infuriating. So I'm going to do my working out on the other side, on the right-hand side on the Word document. Okay, so question 1, complete the table of values for the line graph. So I'll talk through some of the questions, but I'll do the working out on the right side. Okay, so we've got x equals negative 10. So x equals negative 10 is here. Then we scroll down. We've got negative 30. So when x is negative 10, y is negative 30. All right, and then this spot here. So when y is 15, so we can go, there's y is 15. X is halfway between 0 and 10, which is 5. And then we have 10 and 30. So complete the equation for this line graph. So we're basically going through the y-intercept, the origin. So your y-intercept is 0. So we just got to find the gradient. So we can say, all right, what's the difference in our y values? So the difference there between negative 30 and 15 is 45. And then the difference in your x values, we're going from negative 10 to 5 is 15. So your gradient is 45 over 15, which is 3. So your answer for that one is y equals 3x. All right, question number 2. And I might just label that 2. Okay, 3x plus 5y equals 0. Complete the coordinates for this point that lies on this line. So this just means x is negative 10. Got my equal sign. Okay, x equals negative 10. So we're just substituting negative 10 for everywhere we see x. We only see it once, which is good. Okay, so let's just solve for that. 3 times negative 10 is negative 30 plus 5y equals 0. Let's bring the 30 over and then divide both sides by y. So by 5. So 30 divided by 5 gives you 6. So your answer for this one is 6. Okay, let's keep scrolling. Give me some space there. Give me some space on this one. All right, question 3. Determine the gradient of this line in its simplest form. So question number 3. So you just got to pick 2 points. So for this one here, I can clearly, oops, I'm not going to press on it. When I press on it, it goes weird. Okay, so it clearly goes through 2 for the y-intercept and 5 for the x-intercept. So that means your gradient is going up 1, well, sorry, it's not going up, it's going down. It's going down 1, 2, so it's a negative. And it's going across to 5. Now, I pulled myself up there with the negative. It's because I knew this was a negative line. So make sure you can see straight away whether a line is, or a gradient is negative or positive. So basically we're always going in the x direction, in the positive x direction. So is your graph going down or is it going up? So in this case, it's going down. So it's a negative gradient. All right, let's scroll, please. All right, question number 4. The gradient of this line is, okay, so horizontal line, your gradient, we have no rise, but we can have a run. So your gradient is 0. Now, if it was a vertical line, that's when it's undefined. So just remember, if your run is 0, that means you're dividing by 0. So anything, when you divide by 0, your answer is undefined. Okay, but when you divide 0 by a number, your answer is 0. Okay, so horizontal lines, your gradient will be 0. Okay, let's move on to question number 5. Oh, there we go. So this one here is undefined. Okay, you don't need to keep writing. question number 6. Let me just, oops, why are you scrolling? Scroll this one. Okay, and I do want to scroll that one too. Okay, the gradient of this line is, now I can see straight away it's negative. So even if I had to guess it, I can say, well, I've got a 50% chance of getting it right. So either B or D. Okay, so it's negative. Okay, so starting at 4, going down to 0, I'm going down by 4. And I'm going across by 3. So my gradient is negative 4 on 3. All right, question 7. What is the gradient of GH? So that just means the line connecting G and H. It's a weird way of saying it, but it's okay. So how many are we going up by? So we're going from -2 to 5. So the difference between -2 and 5 is 7. And then we're going across from 2 to 4. So it's 2. So your gradient for that one is 7 over 2. Now remember, we do have to put things in the simplest form. So this one isn't a problem. But if you did get something that required you to put it in simplest form, just make sure you simplify your fraction. All right, question number 8. Actually, I might need to do that on the next page. How do I go to another page? Let me scroll. Let's just, that's a bit annoying how it's done that. That's okay. It's going to be all over the page. Okay, what are we up to? Number 8. Okay, so y equals 6x. So if x equals 7, well, that's a terrible 8 though, isn't it? Y equals 6x. X equals 7, so y equals 6 times 7. So 6 times 7 is 42. Oh, can you hear my dog? Right there, Lucy? Complete this table for y equals 4x. So we've got x, y, 9.3, and then 15 here. So when x equals 9.3, we've got y equals 4 times 9.3. So that's 4 times 9, is that 36? Hold on, I'm going to use a calculator because I don't want to make a mistake. All right, I never have confidence in myself, but I should. But knowing me, if I didn't check my answer on the calculator, I'd probably make a mistake. Okay, so we've got 37.2 here. And then for this space, it's a terrible table. Let me just fill it in a bit. I'll put in the borders. Okay, so when y equals 14, we've got 15 equals 4x, and then we divide both sides by 4, gives you x equals, 3 3/4, so 3.75. Again, I'm just checking my answer on the calculator. Funny. Okay, 3.75. All right, so there's your answers for question number 9. All right, question 10. Which of these lines has the steepest gradient? Okay, so we've got y equals x plus 10, so your gradient of that is 1. This one, y equals 8x, so your gradient is 8. Gradient of this one is 7, and the gradient of this one is 1/4. So the largest number is your steepest gradient. So your answer for that one is B. Now notice how I didn't even take any notice of the y-intercept because it doesn't matter. Okay, you're just looking at your gradient. Okay, question number 11. Bill drew a graph by plotting the y-intercept and then making a rise of 5 followed by a run of, well, the suspense of 2 to the point 28. Where was the y-intercept? Okay, let me just think about this one. So it's got a rise of 2 and a run, rise of 5 and a run of 2, wasn't it? So that's your gradient. Gradient is rise over run, which is 5 over 2, to the point 28. So we did something like this in a previous video. I was going to say just before, but if you didn't watch that video, you'd have no idea what I was talking about. Okay, so remember we're going to substitute it into this equation, y equals mx plus c, just substituting in 2 and 8. Okay, and then just, so those 2's cancel out, which is nice. So c is equal to 3, so that's your y-intercept. So your y-intercept is at 3. Okay, select all lines parallel to 4x minus 3. So if a line is parallel, it has the same gradient. So the gradient of A is negative 4, so it's not parallel. The gradient of B is 4, so it's parallel. C, the gradient is 4, so it's also parallel. And the gradient of D is 3, so it's not parallel. So there's 2 answers for that one, B and C. Okay, so let me just write that down. Question 12 is B, C. Okay, question 13. What is the y-intercept of 2y equals x plus 10? So we can't see the y-intercept until it's in the form y equals mx plus c, or some people would. Okay, but let's rearrange it to get it in that form. So we've got 2y here, so let's just divide everything by 2. So that goes, we've got y equals x on 2 plus 5. And what was the question? What is the y-intercept? Okay, so there it is, 5. Question 14, let me just scroll. Oh, I need to enter another page. Let me just add another page. Whoops, where are we adding that page? Okay, so question 14. What is the gradient of y? So I'm going to write that out. Y plus 2x equals 17. Now again, you need to rearrange it in the form y equals mx plus c. So let's leave the y over this side and then take the 2x over to the other side. So to do that, we have to subtract 2x. So your gradient is negative 2. Okay, question 15. What is the equation of the line through 0, 3, and 1, 5? So 0, 3, 1, 5. Now, this is my y-intercept. So remember, your y-intercept is when x equals 0. Why is it telling me to sketch a diagram? I could probably sketch a diagram to get the gradient, but I'm not going to. Thanks for the tip, though. So your y-intercept is 3. So if you ever see a 0 there, it tells you automatically what your y-intercept is, which is awesome. Now we're going to do the gradient. So it's just the difference in your y values. So 5 minus 3 over 1 minus 0. So that's 5 minus 3 is 2, 1 minus 0 is 1. So your gradient is 2. So in your equation, we've got y equals 2x plus 3, which is quite nice. Okay, moving on to question 16. So we're getting into some harder ones now. What is the equation of this line? So I've just done quite a few of them, but, sorry, when I say that, I did it in just a previous video. Your y-intercept is 1, your gradient, so it's negative. So how many are we going down by? And I can't draw in here, I apologize, because it's just going to really screw up my screen. So I'm going down 1, 2. And I'm going across 1. So my gradient is negative 2. So your equation is y equals negative 2x plus 1. So you can just fill that in the blanks. All right, question 17. Again, what is the equation of the line? Now they've drawn 3 points here. I'm not sure off the top of my head why. Maybe it'll make sense as I'm doing the question. So your y-intercept, you can clearly see it goes through negative 2. So to get to this point here, how many have we gone up by? We've gone up by 1, 2, 3. And we've gone across 1. Sorry, just making sure that's right. Okay, so that means your gradient is 3. So your equation is y equals 3x minus 2. Okay, let's just scroll some space. Nearly there. Okay, question 18. What is the equation of the line? So it says answer in simplest form, so we must have, I don't know, maybe, I don't know why it's asking that. Okay, so the gradient, we're going up 1 and across 1, 2. That's probably just if you had a different fraction. We don't need to put in the y-intercept, it's already given it to us, so we can put in just there 1 over 2 for our gradient. Okay, question 19. Okay, the equation of this line is c equals something, so that's our gradient, and plus something, our y-intercept. So what is this point here? So you can see it's halfway between 0 and 50. So your y-intercept, or your, in this case, your c-intercept is negative 25. Oh, sorry, why did I do negative? Oh, gosh. Sorry, where am I? Back up here. I will just start again. Your y-intercept is oh, why am I doing negative? Is that 25? Okay, and your gradient. All right, so it doesn't matter what point you use for your gradient, but try to find one that crosses the grid line. So if I kept going, this point here looks like it nicely crosses the grid line, so I'm going to use that. But this point here, up here also does, but I'm just going to use this point here, which is at 50, 150. So that means I've gone up from 25 to 150. So I've gone up by 125, and then I went across by 50. So sometimes when it's not a nice one, I feel like it should be a little bit nicer. So I'm just going to double check. If I went up to 250, oh no, it's still going to give me the same answer, which is nice. Okay, and oops, so your equation, whoops, gosh, I'm sorry, I'm not concentrating. So C equals 2.5 n plus 25. Okay, good, hopefully. All right, last question before I go crazy. Oh, am I going to fit it in there? I don't think I am. Let's see. Question 20. The equation of this line is, okay, so what this space is here for is for this variable, so it's going to be d equals, and then we just have to do our gradient. So how many did we go up by? We went up by 1. So this isn't as hard as I thought it would be, and we went across 30. So you're just entering in d, 1 and 30. So there's your equation. Beautiful. Sorry girls for taking maybe a little bit longer, but went through every question, and well done. Bye-bye.